Now that you're familiar with the SOLIDWORKS user interface, let's talk about ways that we customize it. Through various videos, we're going to talk about customizing different aspects of the user interface. We're going to talk about creating our own shortcuts, different ways that we can access the tools. But in these first couple videos, I want to talk about ways that we can simply move things around to make them more appealing to however you like to model your parts. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the command manager. Now this is displayed up top. The command manager is going to be the base for you to get most of your features. Not everything is here, but we'll talk about customizing that in a little bit. Most people coming from older CAD systems aren't used to having this type of interface. But if you've been using Windows for quite a while, this tab interface has popped up in everything from Word to Excel and so on. So you should be fairly familiar with this type of navigation, and it's a really clean way to access lots of different tools. The first thing I want to talk about is just the appearance of this. Now, right now, you see that we have our icon, and then it tells you what it is below it. You'll also notice when I hover the cursor that a tooltip appears. In this case, it says Extruded Boss Base, extrudes a sketch or selected sketch contours in one or two directions to create a solid feature. So very handy to have that tooltip pop up, as well as having the descriptor just below the icon. But once you get more comfortable with SOLIDWORKS, you won't need to see that descriptor anymore. So we can right click and we can select the Use Large Buttons with Text. Deselect that, and now we have just the icons. Of course, you still have the tooltips, so it can still be a very quick way for you to get access to these tools without having to take up more of your model environment. For the duration of our series, we're going to go ahead and leave them on so you can quickly and easily see what I'm selecting. The other thing we can do is we can change the size of these icons. If we use this gear option at the top, we go down to button size, you'll notice that they're currently set to small, which is the default option. We can select medium or large. Now, depending on the size of your modeling environment, if you select large, it's going to take up most of your screen. You'll notice that all of the icons get larger. You notice that the icons in our design tree, as well as our heads-up view manager, are also large and at the top. So this is really only something to be used if you're having trouble seeing the icons. It's a good idea that understand what the tools are, but if you can have them a little bit smaller, go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead into Customize. Now, once we go into Customize, you'll also notice that we can change the icon sizes in here, as well as a few other settings. You notice that there's a context toolbar settings, show on selection, show quick configurations, quick mate, and show in shortcut menu. This is basically what happens when you select something on the screen. If for some reason this isn't turned on when you start SOLIDWORKS, make sure that you turn that on. You'll also notice that we have show tooltips, use large tooltips. If we turn this off, it will no longer show the tooltip when we hover over the icon. Again, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to leave this tool turned on so that you get a better idea of what these tools are doing, and that way you understand that you have the option to turn that off to clean the look up just a little bit. You'll also have Lock Command Manager and Toolbars. We're not going to use this option because I want to show you how to rearrange things. So let's go ahead and select OK and talk about moving things around now. So this video is really going to be focusing on the Command Manager up top, the main way that we're going to be accessing our tools. If we right click, we can turn on different tabs. For instance, if we want to talk about sheet metal, we can select sheet metal, and now we have all of our tools at our fingertips. We can also go up to insert and down to sheet metal or into any other area such as features and apply these as well. And this is a great way to access all of the tools, not just the ones that are preloaded on your tab. So again, right-clicking will allow you to turn those on and off. But there's a little bit more that we can do. Now, while this is the default location for the tabs in your command manager, you can move this around the screen. You can undock it, you can dock it to the left, to the right, back up top, or even drag it onto another monitor. In most cases, you'll find it at the top is going to be the most ideal location. That's where most programs place this, and that's where it's going to be most commonly placed. So if you're moving around from different machines, leaving it at the top is a good idea. If you're trying to do a complete customization of your user interface, go ahead and move it around, see where it works best for you. I find that leaving it at the top works the best because once you move it to a location such as this, it takes up more room, especially if you dock it on the side, and it really cuts into the modeling environment more than you probably want.